1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 5, 6, 5, 4, 7, 8, 6. Whoops, that's not a 1. Oops. 1, 2, 3. Actually made that really hard for myself. Alright, everybody! This is Burt, and I am here with another trailer reaction from Soft Tubes. Anyway, whatever. I screwed up my opening. Anyway, today we're doing the Star Wars Episode 9. The first teaser has dropped, and apparently we get the title of the film with this teaser. I've friggin' avoided as much as I could. The moment I saw it, I'm a little late actually. I woke up late today. But I saw it, the teaser, and then I'm recording. So alright, let's just jump into this so there's no possible way anything can get spoiled. Lucasfilm. Okay, so she's still in that outfit. They've kept with the outfit. Or at least similar to. Should I go on Jakku?
We've passed on all we know.
Okay.
1,000 generations live in you now.
Training. Oh. Okay. Oh, TIE fighter.
This is your
TIE bomber?
fight.
Okay. That's a long... Okay, it's gonna come in the shot. There we go. Okay, it's... What is happening? Okay. Quite cool. Hooray! There's a lot happening on that one. Aww.
With you. No one's ever really gone.
Is that part of the Death Star? Who was that? Rise of Skywalker. Okay. 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 So this is an interesting one for me. I'm going to start off, I'm going to say straight up that I think I used to be a bigger Star Wars fan than I am now. So when I got into Star Wars, I was a kid, and it was on the prequels, and I loved the prequels as a kid. They were the first sort of thing I knew. I ended up watching A New Hope, I think it was, when I was in hospital one time, because I couldn't remember the name of the first Star Wars movie. So I accidentally picked that one, and I don't want to watch this garbage. It was at a time when I didn't like anything that was old. I can't remember how old I was then. And then it's weird, because not long after that, I got super into the old Godzilla films. But yeah, so for ages I didn't like the original trilogy because it was too old. It was weird to me. It didn't make sense, especially that it was supposed to come after. So I really liked the prequels. I still didn't like Episode 2 very much, which is interesting. I still was like, it was just a nothing kind of film. I liked things in it. I didn't like the film. And now looking back, I think Phantom Menace has more merit than a lot of people give it. I don't think it's as bad as people say. There are certain things like Jar Jar Binks is a bad character. Really good story arc, bad character. Episode 2 is just trash. It is a terribly made film and serves no point. It is the Crimes of Grindelwald of the Star Wars films at this point. And then Episode 3 was actually pretty friggin' good. And then they did, there was the gap. And I was still super into Star Wars for a long time, mostly through games like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that. I like the Old Republic a lot more than the Saga period stuff, like the current stuff. But So then, like, this Disney bought it, and everyone was like, oh, they're going to ruin it. No, I tend to try and keep a general optimism about a lot of stuff. There's certain things I get really cynical about. And I was like, well, because for me, like, everyone said that about Marvel. Everyone's like, they're going to Disneyfy Marvel, and Wolverine's not going to kill anyone in the comics anymore. And that never happened. They had a pretty hands-off approach. So they got Star Wars, and I was still like, I wasn't necessarily confident, but I was at least not dreading the worst immediately. I wasn't expecting everything to fall apart. So I was like, okay, this could work. And then Force Awakens sort of came out, and I don't know how much Disney, from all reports, Disney tend to have a hands-off approach. Marvel, they didn't really get involved in, because they went, you're doing well, we'll just leave you. They did the same with Pixar. When they bought Pixar, they were like, you're doing well, we'll just leave you. There's no point us interfering in your business if you're already doing your business well. If they start to falter, that's tend to be when they go in. That could have been the issue with Star Wars. Maybe there were issues inside of Lucasfilm when they took it over, that they were like, alright, we're going to have to like push in and do something about it. And so they friggin', yeah, so and then Force Awakens came out, and it was the safest film they could have made. And it was the safest film for a few reasons. So J.J. Abrams, they picked. J.J. Abrams is one of the safest blockbuster directors you can hire. He does everything super safe to a point where it's not bad, it's alright. He never makes anything amazing, he never makes anything really terrible. He's just alright because he plays it safe as. So you're like, alright, it could have been worse. Like, it could have been a worse film, but it could have been a better film too. It's typically how he does everything. So getting Abrams does that. So that was part of their thing. And then they definitely wanted to play both on the nostalgia of the old films to try and get that audience in, and also try and capture a new audience. So they played everything safe, did a lot of nostalgia, like here's the Falcon, it's basically New Hope again, and they just played it safe as. Then we had Rogue One, which I enjoyed. Rogue One, I saw it twice because I fell asleep the first time, because I was like a whole thing, like I worked and I went to it was on my birthday or close to, so I had a birthday dinner that night, and it was like a 9 o'clock at night session. I did a bunch of other stuff that afternoon too, so I sort of fell asleep at points, so I got invited to go see it again, and I went and saw it again. And I enjoyed the last part of it especially. The end fight sequence, like big infiltration, is cool. The rest of the movie is like, it's alright. It's weird. It kind of feels like a Lord of the Rings-ian fantasy quest film, which is kind of cool. It just doesn't always work quite so well. And then they wrote Last Jedi. And I know people that love Last Jedi, and I know people that absolutely hate Last Jedi. And this is where I have to emphasize, I don't consider myself a Star Wars fan. I think most of the films are alright. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, but that's kind of the favorite for most people. So I'm not exactly like basing it on like I'm such a Star Wars nerd, so I know that Empire is the best film. It's just the film I enjoyed most. I thought it had the most interesting stuff. I still don't like the cliffhanger ending. I understand why it happened, but I still don't like it. But I still think it's the best movie. I don't like Return of the Jedi very much. In fact, like, Episode 3 is better than Return of the Jedi for me, and Episode 3 is almost better than New Hope for me. They're kind of like neck and neck. It sort of depends on what part I'm looking at. So Last Jedi came out, and I saw it. I saw it by myself, and I sat through and I went, it was alright. I don't have any problem. I have some problems, but I don't have major problems with Last Jedi. I think the biggest problem Last Jedi made was that it tried to do something different. And that's usually a good thing. The problem was, it tried to do something in the middle of a saga. So you've got, everyone keeps decrying, like, Rian Johnson didn't understand the rules of Star Wars. I think he did, and that was why he deliberately changed certain things. And in fact, a lot of the things he did are established in Star Wars lore, especially the expanded universe crap that everyone was so friggin' happy, like they loved it, and they were so pissed off when Disney got rid of. This shit was in that. But then, friggin' they try to bring it back in and people are all shitty because it doesn't fit the logic they've still got. So, you can't really please everyone is kind of the problem there. But the problem is, like, that isn't even the full issue. Because, I mean, we're going to ignore the fact that there was also a lot of hatred about inclusivity on this film. Because they're a whole bunch of idiots who fucking can go sit in the corner by themselves. The main issue that Rian Johnson had is Rian Johnson is a good director. And Last Jedi is a good film. Problem is, it's not a good sequel. Those are two different things. as a film, and the way it's made and crafted and all those things, it is good. But as a sequel in the part, or like a friggin' like 8th installment in a saga, it's not good. And that's because it goes against certain principles that are understood within that saga. So you do Rogue One, you can do things differently. It could be an espionage, spy, action, like war movie, because it's not part of the saga. It's more acceptable when it's on the outskirts. Solo is enjoyable, it's fine, it's nothing amazing, it's not terrible, but it could still do its own thing and be kind of enjoyable. If it was part of the saga, it would be a whole different matter. It'd be like, well, the hell, how does this fit? This doesn't fit. And that's kind of the problem with Last Jedi. It tries to do certain things differently that are well established within Star Wars lore. Even if Disney threw it out, they're still bringing in stuff from that expanded universe. So it's still established within the lore, but it feels disjointed within the main saga. That's a problem. So he does things like the Force doesn't always help you. That's kind of an established thing. Like, it's a weird thing in Star Wars, though, because it actually doesn't make a lot of sense. In the main saga, if the Force is guiding you, it's for good reason. So the Jedi always have that thing of, like, the Force is guiding me here, so it must be for a good purpose. The dark side of the Force is also part of the Force. So aren't the Sith also guided by that Force? So there's the scene where they're guided towards the hacker, like, dude, I forget it, like, Benicio del Toro's character. And they're guided to him, and then he betrays them, and they're like, oh, how could this be? The Force led us here, and everyone's like, that makes no sense. The Force fucking led them there. Maybe that was the dark side of the Force led them there. Like, I don't think the Force has any, like, if we're going to consider the Force as this all-being thing in the universe, kind of like a deity, it probably doesn't have any invested interest in the actions of a couple of people. It probably just does shit. It's just go this way. You know, we'll see what happens. Like, it doesn't, like, it seems illogical that it would want the best outcome, since the best outcome is purely subjective. So it's like the argument about technically Vader did bring balance to the Force because he wiped out both Jedi and Sith. That's kind of the point there. He didn't bring Jedi up. But that's actually up for debate if that was the intent of the scene. So I think, yeah, Last Jedi is a good film, bad sequel that suffers from trying to introduce interesting ideas in the Star Wars, but in the wrong way. There's a couple of things that aren't great, and things that could have been shuffled to make overreaching storylines make more sense. I actually don't mind that Snoke got killed off unceremoniously, and I almost think that was his last year in this trailer. It was either him or I forget who else I'm thinking of right now. I don't think it's Luke. That would be weird. But I think it was either Snoke or someone else. And that could also work, because we don't know a lot about Snoke, so this would be the movie to reveal that stuff. And then, like, I didn't care, like, the whole Rey is from a normal family. That's a cool idea in Star Wars, because everything is apparently related to dynasties. So why not break that? Maybe not the right film to do it in, but it's a cool idea, and it doesn't bother me. Like, it's cool that she's just some person that happens to be good. The Force works like that. Anakin was the first Skywalker. Like, he was conceived by the Force, apparently, in a Jesus Christ metaphor, but he was like the first Skywalker, and he was amazing. And no one ever decries that as breaking the dynasty idea, because he was the first one. Maybe Rey is the first one of a new dynasty. And so, when you look at it that way, it sort of fits together. It still has issues. And there's a lot of other stuff. Like, my one biggest issue with Last Jedi is the moment when Kylo was like, we should join together and break everything. Like, fuck all this. Like, every time people try to have a rebellion against a, like, republic or whatever, it just leads back to the same cycle. And he makes good points. Star Wars is built on cycles, so why not break the cycle? The problem is that they should have joined forces then. Rey and Kylo should have joined forces to find a better way that everyone else was against, because they don't understand it, because they know the cycle. Could have led to good conversation and an interesting film. But the problem is, Kylo's answer is to then just take over the new First Order to wipe out the rebellion, or resistance, whatever the fuck they're called now. So that's just repeating the cycle. So the end's not great. I think part of that was Disney or Lucasfilm saying, no, You can't go... Like, I think Rian Johnson probably wanted to have them join together and do a thing, but Disney and Lucasfilm were like, no, you need good versus evil for our next film. Like, we still need to get to the next film. So it kind of got stopped there. And that's why I'm still excited for Rian Johnson to have his own trilogy, because it's separate. This is the thing, like, him with a separate trilogy, I think will be really good, because he has control of the storyline from point A to point Z, essentially. So he can go through all those steps and do things that are different, and it will make sense. People won't like it because they've already decided they hate his guts, but I think it could be good. So with all that being said, that was a long meander to get back to talking about the trailer. I had to vent a little bit. So I'm going to see this movie. Am I excited to see this movie? Not really. But I think that's because I'm not a Star Wars person. I still don't think Last Jedi was a bad movie. It hasn't ruined my taste. Force Awakens, even though it was very samey, was alright. It was alright. So it's like, I can go see alright. I've seen every Marvel movie and I still get excited for one. They've had a lot of alright movies. Like, I don't necessarily think they've had a bad movie yet. I'm one of the people that likes Iron Man 3. But they've had a lot of alright movies where I'm like, oh, this could have been better. Like, Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters in the comics. His movie's just alright. And barely just alright. I think it's one of the worst crafted movies they've put together. I'm not sure why that is, but that's just kind of my feeling. I think Iron Man 2 is still worse for me. I just don't like Iron Man 2 very much. Which is weird. I loved it when it first came out. And then in retrospect, went, I don't like it very much. But that's a whole other matter. So, I'm going to see this movie. I'm not excited for it, but I'm not crapping on it yet. I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's still, it's Abrams again, so we're going to get a fine movie. It's going to be okay. It's going to be safe. Especially after Last Jedi, they're going to play it super safe. It's just going to be the most safe film they could possibly put out. And I've already said I saw one thing that, like, after this, they're taking a break from Star Wars. It's a smart move. I don't think they should do Saga anymore. I think they should work out what they want to do and work out a way to win back the people that are now shitty at them. I think a lot of those people have shitty reasons for being shitty at them. I think some people have taken things too far with how they're shitty at them. But that's my opinion on that. I can't tell people to not feel shitty about something. If you don't like something, you don't like it. That's kind of just it. But they've got to win those people back, really. I'm interested to see how much money this movie makes, because there's so many people like, I'm not going to go see it because I didn't like Last Jedi, and fuck them. There's some people who didn't like Force Awakens, so they're pretty much just like, no, I liked Rogue One. It's interesting. The people I found that really didn't like Force Awakens and really didn't like Last Jedi did like Rogue One. I find people that were more okay with those two films didn't like Rogue One. And that's not 100% thing, but it just seems to be that way from people I've noticed, both in my life and online. But there are definitely people who are not like that, so I don't know what the actual things are there. But they've got to win back people, because I don't know if, even with the people that are shitty, whether it'll impact the numbers. If it does anywhere near a regular Star Wars film, I don't think Disney will give a shit about winning people back. They'll be like, you know what, we lost them, so what? We still got everyone else who doesn't pay attention. There is plenty of people who watch Star Wars that are not Star Wars fans. And I think they're the one, it's the general audience thing. You don't make a comic book movie for comic book people because there isn't enough of them. You play it for the general audience. There's not enough Star Wars. You don't make, and it is the same thing. You don't make a Star Wars movie for Star Wars fans because there's actually not that many of them compared to general audiences. If it was it's a weird thing. This should be a niche film. Star Wars should be a niche series. It should be only really getting the people who are super into this kind of thing. But it doesn't. It gets general people. General people go see Star Wars, so it doesn't have to play to that audience. It's different to Alita, where I think Alita had Alita I think has broken even now. It finally made it. It was a long crawl, but it might have actually made it. So it might get a sequel. But it had a niche audience that I think eventually got more general audience due to word of mouth. But only people who were interested in that kind of movie went and saw it straight away. And so it basically made a movie more towards those people. I don't think it made I liked Alita. I don't think it's a particularly well-written film. There's good action in it, and that was enough to keep me. But it's not a greatly written film, and there's a lot of bad stuff in it. And I think it was written for certain people. It was made for certain people. And part of those people was friggin', what's his face himself, who directed it. Oh, not directed it, produced it. James Cameron. He kind of wrote it for himself in a lot of ways. So, Star Wars, I think, can still do well based on general audiences. It's gonna be whether it needs those niche people who have turned off that's gonna be the issue. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff in the trailer to actually break down. I've really meandered on everything but the trailer. So, they're on a desert planet. There was a lot of shots on that desert planet, so it's gonna play a pretty big part. It looks like it might be the final fight. It also might be the midway fight. I would doubt it's the first, like the opening of the film. I could be wrong, but I doubt it's the opening. I think it's either a showdown between Rey and Kylo midway-ish, which is our transition from that story into the larger story of whatever was happening with the Laugh and this Skywalker legacy thing they've clearly got going on again. I think that will be the overreaching storyline of this 3 films, but they've got to deal with the Kylo Ren thing, so that might be the mid. It might also be the end, where the other storyline picks up, it goes on, things get, like, they go off on other side stuff, and then they get back to taking out Kylo. Wouldn't be surprised if Kylo does a, like, the Vader, like, redeems himself at the end. I don't know if I'm particularly fond of that at this point, but I can see them kind of doing that. I like Adam Driver. He's probably, like, the cast are a real reason I even probably will see this film. Like, if it wasn't for the cast in this film, then I probably wouldn't see it. But they're in it, so I'm going to be there. There's good people in this film. And I mean, this is the last thing that Carrie Fisher will ever be in. And, like, they use one shot of her, and that was a deliberate choice. They chose an emotional shot to use of her, with Rey crying. They were very, very deliberate in choosing that shot. And I think it was a smart move, because it reminds people. And that's really important right now. And that might be a way to win people who are not overly sold on Last Jedi. But they might still be like, well, I'm going to see it because it's the last of Carrie Fisher kind of thing. I'm trying to remember other stuff. There's a lot of action shots, a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense within a narrative yet, as we don't know the full narrative. But clearly our 3 main characters of Finn, Poe, and Rey are off on a quest. And they're trying to do something. And it has something to do with Skywalker, and Rise of Skywalker means something's coming back. Something's happening there. So that'll be interesting. I think I've gone a bit too long on this one. I didn't talk much about the trailer, but I got to talk about Star Wars for a bit, so that was fun. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I might have to watch this one a few more times, and I might come back and talk about it again at some point. It's really funny. When I started being like, oh, I can do, like, videos on Saturdays if it's just, like, reactions and stuff, like, that'll be really easy. I didn't think there would be this many things. They drop a lot of crap on what's Friday in America, so it's Saturday in Australia. So I wake up on a Saturday and go, oh, there's something else to react to now. Okay, I guess I'll get that done. I didn't expect this. I really didn't think this would happen. I always thought trailers dropped in the middle of the bloody week. But, anyway, got this now. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it is because of the Star Wars celebration, so that makes sense. But, yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on the trailer are. If you're keen for this, if you're not keen for this, your different reasons. Like I say, like, I have particular thoughts about some of the reasoning, but I can't... I have certain political beliefs and things like that I think, yeah, people shouldn't think a certain way, but I also can't fault people for thinking a certain way, because I also do believe in the idea that you are a product of everything around you, the way you're born, like you both nurture and nature, and that's just kind of how life works. So I can't fault people for having a particular opinion. So I'm interested to see opinions. I want to try, and sometimes it's hard for me to force myself depending on how the person's acting. I try to be pretty reasonable with most people's opinions and try to understand why they feel a certain way. Even if I disagree. I try. I can't guarantee I succeed, but I try. But yeah, let me know what you think, and if you think this was what you thought of the trailer itself, if the trailer was the right way to go. I kind of feel like there's a couple of things they probably should have done differently. I'm not sure what off the top of my head. It just felt a bit odd coming off of Last Jedi, but this is the way they chose to go. I mean, it's only a teaser. I think the official trailer will probably do a lot more to try and win people. But yeah, and then if you like this video, hit the like button. Obviously, if you disagree with me, you can hit that dislike button, because I know people that really hated Last Jedi and hear this are just going to hit that dislike button anyway. So you can do that. It's fine. I accept it. And then, yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and there's the bell thingy if you want to get alerted. I don't know if it's, you know, the bell thingy. It's fun. It pops up on your phone and it's like, yeah, new video. I mean, we do one video every day weekdays, and then maybe one on Saturdays. So we're not inundating you with stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Shit. This is...
None of us can go back.
Oh!
We can do is
I
our best.
said his daughter.
And sometimes the best
Fuck off,
we can
Java.
do